So, are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Cool. Welcome to the Semi-Michael Podcast. Welcome to the Semi-Michael Podcast, one man's attempt at business, family, and comedy. Today's a very special episode. It's episode number 8. And the reason why it's special is because I got a really special person, a really good friend of mine. And he's been a comedian here in the Dallas area probably for the last 8 years, but more active in the last 4 or 5 years. Not only was he the first person that actually gave me a real conversation to understand, everything about comedy on my second day of ever even doing stand-up. The fact that he was out there with me till 4 a.m. talking comedy, I'm asking questions, and this is a real one. And I want y'all to give a big round of applause, even though we don't have that right here, for my great friend and comedian, Daniel Gill. What's up?
Hey, what's going on, man?
What's going on, bro?
Me here.
How are you?
I'm doing good. It's funny you bring up the open mic thing. I was hosting that night, and you walked up, and I was like, "How do you say your name?" And I said it over, and I was Abishan. Okay, I got it. I got it.
Mm-hmm. And this was at Hyenas.
This was at Hyenas in Plano, and I get up there. I was like, "Give it up for."
Yeah, and bro,
I brain farted so bad. I felt so bad about that.
You do?
Man. I did.
Yeah, everyone usually gets my last name wrong because it's very difficult to say.
It is, but now I can actually say it. Akbashan.
Yeah, perfect. And first, for anybody who is a first-time listener, welcome to the show. This is Daniel Gill. This is a comedian that not only does road shows, goes out in and outside of Dallas, but he's hilarious. I wouldn't have brought anybody on who's not extremely funny, but this is a person who, and there's a lot to learn from when it comes to comedy, because your knowledge, it's deep.
No, thank you.
I guess really the first question I have is what even got you into comedy, to begin with?
Well, when I wanted to get into comedy, I did kind of what almost any other comic would do. Mm-hmm. I started watching Comedy Central Presents and, just little things like that back when it was, pretty mainstream. I went through...
What year is this? This whole Comedy Central?
So I've been for... It's 2006-ish.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's when I started there's stand-up comedy and stuff like that. But it wasn't until... So I went through this kind of a dark time where I went through a divorce and I was going through a custody case, stuff like that. And I was like, I need to get out of here. Mm-hmm. I need to go. I need some laughter in my life. And I went down to a club just south of where I was living in Denton. And my first real taste of stand-up comedy was Joe Rogan and Tony Coco Diaz.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Tony was opening for Joe. And
this is live, so you're seeing this live.
My first show, I get introduced to probably 2 of the greatest to ever do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really
special.
So
I didn't know what to expect. And after I saw them both go up, I was just like, man, I want to do that.
So that when you saw it live, something sparked in you.
Almost immediately.
You felt it?
Yeah.
Something you've never felt before, or what? You felt that before on anything else that you had in your life? Or this was new to you?
You have kids, right?
Yes, 2.
You watched them get born?
Yes.
It's better than that.
Oh.
And so I was just like, oh my goodness, I need this always. It was one of those things. It was almost instantaneous. When you see your kid born, you're like, oh, I love you. Mm-hmm. It's instant. I saw them go up, get the laughs, everyone loved them, and I was just like, that's what I want to do. It was...
It felt natural when you...
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the next week I went and signed up for my first open mic, and yeah.
The next week?
Yeah.
From
following week.
So are you from Dallas?
No, originally I'm from San Angelo, Texas, moved around a bunch.
You were born in San Angelo, Texas.
Yeah.
Until when? I
was probably like 5.
Before you came out
5, 6, yeah.
Okay, and then where you went from San Angelo?
San Angelo, I went to Arizona, then I went up to Michigan, and I was there until I was probably 15.
Where about you? Why'd you move around?
Mama was a Rolling Stone. You know, she
It's usually Papa.
Yeah. No.
But your mom
Mom was kind of a gypsy. She liked to move a little bit. No, but like we moved around. Mom wanted to live in Arizona for a little while. We had family out there, and then family moved up to Michigan. So we moved up to Michigan, and we were up there because her mom and grandmother were both up there, and then they passed. And so it was like, well, we don't really have anything here. My brothers live down in Texas, so we just moved down to Texas.
How about your dad?
He wasn't really into the picture.
Mm-hmm. At all, or just more like after a certain time?
Well, that's kind of a long story, but to sum it up, I have a biological father and a guy I call my father, and then I have a stepfather. So yeah, I got all the worlds there. So the guy I call my dad, we didn't really have anything to do with him for a while.
Okay.
He's back in my life now, and I'm glad.
Mm-hmm.
So we ended up moving down here when I was probably like 15 years old.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And what is your experience so far as like Dallas compared to everywhere else you went?
I love it. I love Dallas.
You call it home?
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I like so I've lived in like different kind of areas where it'd be like I live in Valley View where it's, you know, real rustic and, you know, everyone's got acreage. You know what I mean? But then like I live in Arlington, you know, where, you know, it's more metropolitan, it's more centralized, you know, it's perfect for me because I want to go do comedy. I need to go hit clubs and I'm 25 minutes from anywhere. Mm-hmm. You know, so that just it feels really good. I just like Texas in general. I feel
Texas is great, man.
I feel people are more genuine. I've been to different states, and I mean, while you have good people, you know, you have good people everywhere.
Anywhere,
Yeah. I mean, I just feel more at home, I guess.
So you feel like you feel something special about this place?
Oh yeah.
Do you see yourself here in the future?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't imagine myself leaving.
Okay, so you're married, right?
Yeah.
How long?
5-ish years, married together for about 8.
Okay.
Give or take, depending on who you ask.
Look, I'm married for 4 years.
Okay.
Give me some advice. You're double the time.
Oh, married advice. She is always right. Yeah, no, that sounds like the right answer because it is. No, I don't know what kind of advice you're looking for. What kind of trouble you in?
No, I'm not in any trouble. You know, because it's supposed to feel like every day for me, because I feel like as if I married my best friend. Right? We've known each other for about 15 years this year.
Oh wow!
And
where'd you guys meet?
At college.
Oh,
at Lamar University. Yeah, I remember the first day I saw her. You know what I mean? Yeah. And everything went in like slow motion. Mm-hmm. You know, and since then, got to know each other. And then, you know, at one point, this is about 7 years ago, almost, she moved to Dallas, and then we dated from that moment. And next, you know, she's engaged, and then she's pregnant, and then we're married, and then we're, you know, children. I mean, it was.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it kept one after the other, but you know, I'm still new into it, so I feel like anybody who has longer than 4 years definitely has a gem to drop.
You know, it's so crazy that, you know, dating compared to marriage are two completely different things. Like you'll be dating someone for the longest time, and you're like, oh, I think I know everything about you. Get married, and you're like, I never knew anything about you. And then you have kids, and everything changes again.
That's true.
But I think the quality of the person that you find is what defines the relationship. You know, if it's someone that you know that in your heart of heart you can trust, then you should never be afraid to tell them anything. you know, and I feel that's really the hardest part, is honesty. Like for me, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't pick up on a lot of social cues and stuff like that. So, I mean, like I'll look at her and I'll be like, hey, I want to ask you this question, but I don't know if it's I don't know if I can ask you, you know, are we okay to like, how deep is this, you know, it's so
is this currently, or is this kind of as you were,
as you're going constantly, like, oh man, I always try to, I always hit on my wife. I still hit on my wife.
That's beautiful.
I really do. Yeah. But it's like, I do the cheesiest dumb things. You know what I mean? Like, I'll look at her and be like, oh, did it hurt? And she's like, what? And then we've been to 8 years. 8 years. Did it hurt? Did what hurt? When you fell from heaven. And she's like, you're so dumb. And then just walks out of the room. And I'm like, that's the one. That's the one.
That's the one.
Yeah. No, I mean, she sees through all my crap. She keeps me grounded.
I'll call my wife my blind spot detector. Does she kind of see your blind spots?
Oh, she sees everything about me.
For real?
Oh, yeah.
Does she know you better than you, or?
Yeah.
Man.
It's crazy.
That must be hard.
It is. It is. Because I'm like, where's my wallet? And she's like, you know where it is.
My wife, same way. Yeah. I'm like, where's my keys? I could text her where my keys are, and she like, check the bed right next to the pillow. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Wow. So y'all have children, right?
Yeah, we've got so I've got 3 kids. I've got one from a previous relationship, and I've got 2 with her. So I've got a 14-year-old daughter. I've got a 5-year-old, about to be 6-year-old son, and my daughter turns 4 tomorrow.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Happy birthday to her.
Hey,
what's her name?
You. Lincoln. Lincoln McKenzie. Yeah.
Happy birthday, Lincoln.
Hey, thank you.
Is she gonna listen to this in the future and be like, oh, thank you.
Yeah. I mean, hey, Papa gave you a shout out.
So would you consider that like your support system when it comes to the things that you do, or would you consider your support system a little bit different?
That's a good question. I think you have different kinds of support systems. So if like we're talking comedy, yeah, my wife is definitely a big support system in that, because without her, I can't do it.
Tell me why. Why is that?
I mean, I can do comedy, but the kind of comedy that I'm doing, like, I need her to be on board with. Like, we're married, we have kids, so she's got to be okay. Hey, I've got a road gig. I'm going to be out for 2 or 3 days. You know, you have to stay home, take care of them. When I come back, like, I'm a stay-at-home dad. So she's the one that goes out and works. Yeah. You know, so I mean, I don't just depend on her to like sit there and listen to me tell the same dumb jokes over and over and over again. I depend on her for everything. You know, she's the strength when I'm weak, and vice versa. How's that work with, like, what is a day, like a typical day as a stay-at-home father work for you? Like, how's that work? You wake up in the morning, what time? It depends on the day. Sometimes I get to sleep in. Okay. Yeah. Some days, I mean, if I know she's had a hard day the day before, I'll be the one to get up, get the kids ready for school, get my son ready for school, be up at like 6 in the morning, and then my day usually ends 12:30, 1 o'clock that following morning. So you wake up in the morning, you pretty much get them ready to go to school. So all 3, you get them ready to go. Well, so my 14-year-old, she lives with her mom, and I get her kind of on the weekends kind of thing. Okay, okay. So she does school there and then comes out. I have my 3-year-old. She's not in school. Okay. So I have her throughout the day, and then my son, he goes to kindergarten. Okay. So, yeah. So it's really just you and her, mostly throughout the day. Yeah. And this is like, so are y'all really close? No. Y'all aren't? No. It's more like prison. I'm scared of her. Why? Why? She's so mean. Yeah, it's intimidating. Like my 3-year-old, she'll come snatch my drink out and be like, "What are you gonna do about it?" Like, yeah, my youngest is the same way. Yeah, she's like, "I'll tell mom." I'm like, "What are you gonna tell? You took my drink, you know." Like, was she born with that? Like the attitude, the sharpness, that you know? I think honestly, I think it was dormant. I think it was dormant, and it just slowly started getting. She was like, I'm feeling comfortable around these people. I can really be me now. You know? No, she can be the sweetest person on the planet. She's a sassy pants. You know, it's great. Happy birthday, sweetie.
Oh, that's great. So throughout the day when it's you and her, which is, I don't want to go too far deep, you know, sure. Obviously, but that average day. So wake up, take care, your son to kindergarten.
Yeah, drop him off 7:45. Get home. Wife's getting up. I make breakfast. She'll probably get her dressed because I have no coordination. Like I can't match anything.
Yeah.
To say, oh, it's terrible. But then she'll go to work, and I'll be there with Lincoln until we have to go get my son from school. So like throughout the day, we'll color, do puzzles. I do housework, and then in between that, I try and sit and really focus on a set. Or I like being a stay-at-home because it allows me to really focus on what I'm trying to do, which is just full-time comedy, take care of kids, do what I have passions for.
Does it become like difficult at all because you focus more on comedy? And would you consider yourself, since you are full-time, would you consider that something that is your that pays the bills right now?
No, it definitely does not pay bills right now.
And so that's basically your goal, right? For it to.
Yes. Right now, I would like for comedy to pay for the merchandise. So I would like to have this at the point, whatever money I spend on comedy, I would like it to make that money. So if it's like, I don't know, paying for, if I go to 3, 4, 5, 6, however many open mics I go to
per week.
Yeah. And I have one beer. I would like for that month, if I do shows, to at least make enough money to cover the one beer I had at the open mic.
Yeah.
And maybe cover up a little bit of that gas money. If I have a good show where, I put it on, I promote it, I do all this, they cut me a check, I would like for that to go into some sort of merchandise. So then I can have another revenue stream coming in for the comedy itself. So now I'm not just banking on, okay, I want the show to go, but now I want people to come and buy my stuff.
Yeah.
That way you can start, I don't know, same thing as like, if you produce a rap album.
Yeah.
You go out, I've had so many rappers come up to me at a gas station. It's like, hey man, I got a CD.
They still sell you CDs?
Oh, bro. I was like, who has a CD player?
Yeah. Have you ever bought one of them?
Oh yeah.
For real?
Yeah. I had a guy who was opening for Cadillac Dawn.
Wow.
Yeah. Inside Peanut Butter, Outside Jelly?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was my favorite song by him. Anyways, yeah, I love that song.
Yeah.
But so this guy was like, yeah, I opened for Cadillac Dawn, I was like, all right, how much? He was like, $10. I was like, will you sign it? He was like, absolutely.
A little pricey.
He had
$10 if you're hustling a CD. $10 on the street.
He had the guy, Dre and Dr. Dre, Tupac, California Love.
Yeah.
The guy that was like,
yeah.
He was on 2 of the songs on this CD. And I was just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'll buy it. Come on. I don't remember who that guy's name is. But yeah, I just know he had the cool voice in that.
Not Warren G. You talking about Warren G?
No. Oh, man. I don't want to have to look it up.
You talking about the guy who does electronic?
Yeah, the California.
Okay.
Yeah. Does the little robot-y voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was that guy. He's since, I believe he's since passed away. I don't know. But he was on that album for this rapper who had just opened up for Cadillac Dawn. He had like 2 songs with him.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, tell me all about it.
Yeah. So does that kind of relate to you? Like his hustle and kind of the struggle that you kind of, I wouldn't consider it a struggle, but the struggle is always real when you're trying to build your career, especially in something that's creative like comedy. Because I'm sure you've had your battles with this, right?
Yeah, it's okay. So it's difficult to build this career, because there's so many different ways that you can go about this. Okay, so you can, just hope
Yeah.
You know, hope someone out there sees you and is just like, oh, you're going on tour with me. But then, you know, there are hundreds and thousands of people that are doing this that are like, when's my turn?
Yeah.
You know, how can I latch on? How can I, you know, be spotted? How can I do? It's so difficult because you're trying to do so many things. And I think the biggest part, any gem that I can drop right now was after any show you do, okay, any show, bar mic, anything, when people are leaving, seeing you do this show, you should have your ass out there shaking hands, saying thank you for coming, giving out business cards.
Really connecting.
Yeah. I mean, that's how else do you expect to get fans? You know what I mean? Like, excuse me. If you go out and you do your show and then you go hide, no one's going to know. No one's going to remember. Stuff like that. I've been at shows where people have come up and they're like, that joke was so funny.
Yeah.
Because I have a joke where I talk about being a father, and I've got 3 kids. I've got 2 daughters and a favorite. Yeah. And so I tell that joke, and after one show, I had a woman come up, and she was like, that joke was just so great. And I was like, oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it. She's like, I'm the favorite. And I was like, oh, isn't it the best? Like, you know, and I was like, I was the favorite too. And she was like, how did you know? I was like, my mom told me.
Yeah,
Like, if you're the favorite, you just know because they're like, you're the favorite. But all the others.
Did she really tell you?
Yeah.
Hold on. Tell me real quick, because now that I know that, now that you tell me this, you have brothers and sisters, right?
I've got two older brothers, and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've got a.
So you're the youngest.
Yeah, I am.
Wow.
I'm not the favorite because I'm the baby. I'm the favorite because I survived a horse kick to the face when I was 18 months old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm kind of
directly
like
right in.
Yeah, I have a horseshoe right here.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. That's cool. That's a nice little battle scar.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I didn't want you to stop what you're telling me, but
no. So I mean, it's great whenever you get that kind of, you know, recognition after a show, even if you do like a 5-minute guest spot. So like if I get a guest spot at a club,
yeah.
Okay, and you've got your host, your feature, your headliner, your opener, middle, you know, headliner, whatever you want to call it. Like, even if I have that guest spot for 5 minutes, I stay till the end of the show, and I have my butt out there standing with the rest of the comics, shaking hands. Hey, thank you so much for coming out. You know, that's one of my things, and I don't think a lot of people have that kind of gratitude, especially in the industry that we're in.
You feel like, what, is that a generational thing, or? Would you consider that? Would you consider that class or something, or is that?
I definitely think it's classy if you stand out there and thank people for spending their hard-earned money and their time and energy into coming and promoting something like what we were trying to do. I mean, I get irritated with comics when I see them not go out there and say thank you. I'm like, yeah, you know what? They aren't there to see you. You're the opener. They're not going to remember your name. Yeah. But you know what? The one person in the audience is, and that one person could turn into 2, could turn into 4. They might, oh, hey, you got a show coming up. I'm gonna get a hold of my friends and see if I can get 3 or 4 more people to come out with me, and we're gonna support you. You know what I mean? One handshake.
How's the support been in Dallas for you?
It's been phenomenal. I just did a show in the Red Room at Fort Worth last night, and I've got friends sharing links for their friends to come and see the show. Wow, it's phenomenal. Like, it's getting to the point now where I'm like, oh wow, I'm a draw. Yeah, yeah. I brought 10. I brought 15.
So the feeling of having like a little demand, like when the demand starts. So you're seeing that.
Absolutely. I love it. I mean, yeah, that's great for the ego, but it's also one of those things where you're just like, so that's how it happens. Yeah. You put in the time, you put in the effort, you put in the work, and you start reaping benefits.
You consider that progress?
Absolutely. I mean, there are people that got famous off YouTube for doing funny videos and stuff like that. And by all means, make your money. Do what you do. Funny is funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's like, if I saw a YouTube comic come on to the stage and stuff like that, I'd be like, did you hit open mics?
Yeah.
Like, did you have to really work to do this? Like, it's weird whenever you see someone famous get up there and they just try and tell funny stories.
Yeah.
You know, and if it does go well, they're just like, yeah, I'm just genius. But if it doesn't, you know, like,
do you think the medium translates from, like, let's say you're a YouTube artist? Because this leads me to my next question. But do you think there's a gap when it comes to like a learning curve from doing something on YouTube per se, as what you're saying, to going up on stage and, you know, trying to entertain a room? Because I'm sure they have some draw and some demand.
Oh, they definitely have draw.
Yeah.
Some of those people have millions of views, and, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I want to come do a show one nighter at your club. How many people do you fit? And it sells out within a matter of seconds. Yeah, I mean, those people on YouTube, they've achieved a level of stardom that takes you years and movies and, you know, cameos, all this stuff, you know, for you to get. But these people achieved it in a year.
But you know, sometimes it sounds to me like people consider that like cheating. Like when people speak about like a YouTube star or Instagram star or TikTok, whatever it is that, you know, they're successful in, and then they go out and now they try to, you know, create live events or whatever it might be. And they're like, you know, like they make it seem as if like they didn't truly earn it. Is that kind of, and then by they, I'm talking about like comics. They look at it like as if they didn't truly earn it, right?
I think personally, I can see where people would be mad because of that, but then also at the same time, I can see a whole lot of jealousy because I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are tons of videos that I was just like, oh, I wish I would have thought of that.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know, pick any video that's gone viral recently.
Yeah.
You know, like my favorite videos are like prank videos.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. Like, why couldn't I have thought of something like that? Get 1 million views, and all of a sudden, my page just explodes with subscribers. Like, it's something simple.
But you think it's that simple though? Because, you know, they got the baby shark, right?
Yeah,
I think that has been viewed like has been, I think, over 1 billion times. So I mean, it's just really up there.
Oh yeah.
And you know, people are like, such a simple song, but there's a genius to that. Oh, yeah. To making something not only simple, but to travel that far and that resonates with people. There's a cadence to, you know, the song. There's a sound that people appreciate, not only from a young age, but to an older age. It has a stickiness that people could follow. So I feel like it's not, and that wasn't their first song that they came out with, but I mean, I think they've made over like $60 million on just YouTube alone on that particular song.
Oh, for sure. You know what the craziest feeling is? I would love to ask like any Grammy Award winning singer-songwriter. Be like, hey, how do you feel about Baby Shark?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do wonder, yeah.
Like, you know, you have like Mariah Carey, who's won Grammys, and, you know, pick anyone. Alicia Keys, hey, how do you feel about Baby Shark? Like, I wonder if she was like, man, I wish I could have come up with Baby Shark. You know, like you said, it's so simple. Yeah. But it's one of those songs where it's just like, it exploded and blew everything up. Like, when's the last time you heard a song come from YouTube off of that? What does the Fox say? Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that though.
What does the Fox say? Yeah. Oh, you check it out.
Yeah.
When you get a second, check out. So the guy that created that song, like, I could be completely wrong. Yeah. But I believe his son, he wrote it for his son, and it's just this kooky song, and it just makes a whole lot of different noises. Yeah. You know, and then like the people that did Baby Shark, I want to say that was like an Australian YouTube troupe. Like they actually, they wrote a lot of songs, like the Finger Family, the Finger Family song, Daddy Finger, where? Oh, yeah. They also, I believe that they also wrote Baby Shark. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I'm always wrong.
I'm wrong all the time.
Yeah, I'm wrong all the time. She's always right, and that's why I have a happy marriage. No, but I mean, it's one of those. So bringing it back to like YouTube comics and stuff like that, like they might be funny, or they might just like be famous enough that people are going to come and just laugh at them regardless. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you just sit there and go, well, good for them. I hope I get my way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Man, if you hold on to bitterness and stuff like that, you're not going to get far. People are going to see through that.
That's true. That's facts.
Yeah.
But how did you choose, given that you saw these opportunities within comedy alone, how did you choose stand-up? Like, what made you go into that specifically?
I've always loved jokes. I love street jokes. I like hearing street jokes. I like being told street jokes. I like telling jokes. Stuff like that, like Johnny Deeper jokes, knock knock jokes. Tell me any dad joke. Oh my God. So like my favorite, I actually wrote a dad joke. Yeah. And it was like, what's the only thing that scares a Navy SEAL?
What?
A Navy shark. Yeah, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. Navy shark. A Navy shark. Yeah, that's the only thing that scares a Navy SEAL. But it's just, it's one of those things where it's just like, I love jokes. I'm not jaded by this job. I love going out. I love seeing other comics. I love stand-up a lot.
So when you started, because you said you started in 2006, right?
That was the first time I touched the stage. I took like 10 years. I took 10 years off because then I started, family and work and stuff like that. I met my wife, and
at that time when you chose to stop, was it a difficult moment for you to do that? Was it an active decision, or is it that you said, okay, I'll do this next week, and it kept turning into another week? Like how did that happen?
So I was a weekend warrior. I've been really active in this community for about 4 to 4.5 years. And at the very beginning of those 4 years, I was doing a lot of learning. So when you start into stand-up, a lot of comics tend to go with, I'm going to say the most offensive things on the planet.
Shock value type stuff.
Because that's all that, at the time, in the past 4 or 5 years, that's really what everyone thinks they want to see. You know what I mean? But the true message is be funny. Yeah. You know what I mean? You can say offensive things, be funny. If your point validates the irony or something like that, go for it. But if you can't make it funny, you're going to end up like Kramer. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're going to come off as like this hateful monger, which whatever. Anyways. But it's one of those things where you have to have your unique perspective, and you've got to be able to articulate that out doing stand-up, because it's meticulous. If you change one word, a joke falls flat. Yeah. I've noticed, if you try and use big words, like I use the word translucent. I was like, I'm a mixed human being. Like I'm half white, half translucent. Yeah. But translucent wasn't coming off, so I was like, all right, I'm going to scrap the joke until I figure that part out. Yeah. And it was just one of those things where it was like, translucent is the word that just wasn't, it was causing the joke to fall flat. And I was like, all right, I'll figure it out later. But I mean, you see that all the time when you like livid. If you use mad, everyone gets that. Everyone can relate. Livid, it's one of those weird words that some people are like, all right, I get behind you, and other people are like, I'm not buying this at all. Like it's such an interesting word.
So getting the language right is one of those. So what would you consider what makes somebody funny? Is it their delivery? Is it the math?
It's so many things. There are some people that are naturals. They can just go up there and be goofy, but that's only going to last for so long. You've got to have a presence. You've got to have you've got to have the smarts in order to be able to put this stuff together. You got to know why people are laughing. I mean, there are some people that say, hey, they're laughing. Doesn't matter what I'm doing. You could be hitting yourself in the head with a hammer as long as they're laughing. Yeah. but I like to dig deeper into it, and I like to know why.
So like a Carrot Top, do you consider him a comedian?
He's a prop comic.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, he's a comic, but he's a different genre.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, would you consider a magician to be a comedian? Because they usually, 90% of them tell jokes.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when you come down to the entertainment world, there's dozens and dozens of different people.
Yeah.
You know, you have, ventriloquists.
Yeah.
You know, look at Jeff Dunham. Do I think he's a comic? I mean, he's a ventriloquist. That's
so
what
do you feel like when they bring a prop on that changes them from being a stand-up to something else?
Absolutely. They're doing way better than me as a comic.
Mm-hmm.
like comedian is the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Like a poet is probably on the same level as me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
if you're a ventriloquist, if you work with puppets or dummies or anything, oh my gosh, you're so much more above me in the totem pole.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what is
the hierarchy? There you go.
Yeah, so what do you consider like success as a comic? What does it look like to you?
Man, I would like to pay bills with comedy. I mean, there's so many different things. Like success to me, I would love to go do USO shows.
Mm-hmm.
You know, go over, entertain the troops, go to Afghanistan, Iraq, stuff like that. I think that would be the best.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that would be a level of success for me.
Yeah.
But when it comes to legitimate success, I mean, yeah, money comes in, you're able to pay for bills and credit cards, and
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to come out of pocket all the time, and
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I mean,
So when you say the whole USO thing, is that a career when people go out and like entertain for the troops, or is that a part of someone's career? Like, can you do a full career through that?
So no, you can't really do. Well, I mean, maybe. I know some comics that are headliners, and they'll go do like a 1 month tour, 2 months, 3 months. I don't know if it goes any further because I'm not quite at that level yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I had one headliner, he was telling me that he went out on a 3 month tour where it was like Afghanistan and Iraq, and then he went up into France and Germany and then London, like wherever we had bases, like he just would follow this big trail, and he was like, yeah, I'd have like a week off here, a week off there. They'd fly me back to the States and I'd fly back.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'd do another 3 weeks out. I'm like,
And that's what you aspire. You like that?
I would love to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I never served in the military, so I was like, if I can give something back to them.
So that you have an affinity towards them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I have family that,
Yeah.
my granddad was in World War II. My brother was stationed in Hawaii we all.
Is that I wonder what type of comedy that is. Is like, do you have to have a certain type of like military comedy, or you could just go up with anything?
Oh, I believe you can just, I mean, funny's funny,
Mm-hmm.
so you'd be able to tell, like, if I talk about my kids,
Yeah.
they're going to have kids, they're going to get it. They're probably going to have things that you should steer clear of, like, if you come over here, don't talk politics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you kind of have to stay away from that, but that's just what I assume.
Do you bring up politics in your?
No, I'm way too dumb. I'm way too dumb to do that.
So do you have a particular type of? I know you say you like the whole dad jokes, but I know you don't usually probably do that on stage. You probably have a lane that you kind of hover around, right?
Yeah, I like to be as relatable as possible. So yeah, I try to be observant. I try to, so there are two. I listened to a comedian, and he kind of explained it this way. There's two kind of viewpoints that you can do in comedy. There's either what's affecting you,
Mm-hmm.
or what you see is affecting the world. So it's like either you're doing observational and you're writing jokes about that, or you're writing jokes about you and everything that's affecting you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm one of those people that I like to talk about what's going on with me.
Mm-hmm.
I like to make jokes about my kids and my wife and
So you incorporate
relationships.
yeah.
But it's also one of those things where I know everyone has something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so everyone's got a significant other. You know,
Not everybody though.
Well, I mean,
Galentine's Day was specifically for people who don't.
hey, you know, Mazel Tov.
You heard of Galentine's Day?
No, I've
It's
not.
girls who get together as gals and they celebrate Valentine's Day without men not included.
Okay,
It's wild, right?
that's crazy.
Yeah, but continue.
I'm just sitting here going, what's the male equivalent of that?
There shouldn't be, right?
There should be.
Do you like Valentine's Day?
Eh,
I'm not a fan, but
really?
you know,
Why are you not a fan of Valentine's
it's a lot of pressure
Is it?
for men to you know, because you have to play along, you know, because you know Valentine's Day just passed, right? So yeah, it's Valentine's Day, but then it's also Friday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And men aren't going to be, well, usually, you know, you're not seeing them with the red suit, getting their fresh haircut, you know what I mean, super excited about the day, because it's really for, you know, taking care of the lady, you know, in your life, you know? So,
but why is it about only taking care of the lady? And why is it whenever I say taking care of the man, they immediately all would assume bedroom stuff?
oh yeah.
Like, why can't I want chocolate?
Well,
why can't-
because Valentine's Day I will consider like a romantic type thing, and women are more into romance. You know, men give the romance, women pretty much receive it, but you know, I would see it as that, like you're in essence pleasing the woman, like you're getting her flowers, you're getting her chocolates. There's nothing pretty much engineered towards men like you get men this for Valentine's Day. So, you know, like even, you know, when it comes to the day before Valentine's Day, men go out and try to purchase as much stuff. You don't see women, you know, kicking down the door trying to find a Valentine's Day present, you know? So I feel like, you know, any man you ask, you like on Valentine's Day, you ask like, you excited about Valentine's Day? And they're like, yeah, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, I feel
She gave me coupons again. Great.
yeah, one person told me, you know, women, you need to shave your Valentine's Day gift.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know, and I feel like that it's that type of thing where the man is, at least how it's designed currently,
Sure.
is for the man to please a woman, which is not a bad thing. I just feel like you have to be able to, you know, dress for the occasion, you know, and you know, when there's a lot of other things, is, you know, men, you know, we think about ourselves, right? Women think about everything. They think about the children, the, you know, work. They think they think all the way through things. Where men, we just think about, like, if there's a trip coming up, we're thinking, okay, you just think about packing your things, but the woman's making sure that itinerary is right. You know, are you on time? All these different things. So I feel like, you know, yeah, Valentine's Day is really pretty much a woman's holiday. You know, they own it, at least for now. You know, and that's why I feel like.
I think we need to get a female president. And
You think that would change things?
And then men will get Valentine's Day.
Oh, I don't know.
I think what we should do is create a male version of the Notebook.
Okay, tell me more.
I have no idea. I'm just like, I want to know what the male version of the Notebook would be.
A few years ago, there was
John Wick.
Yeah, John Wick. They tried to do a day where it's like steak and fellatio day or something like that for men, like right around like Valentine's Day. They try to make that, and then by they, I don't know who, but it's, you know, there's always a new trend that tries to make it more male dominated. Yeah. To counteract the whole.
What if you're vegan?
I know.
You know, like
or pescatarian. You know.
Yeah. You like, I only eat fish.
Yeah, I know.
Like, hey.
Did you hold on, since Valentine's Day did just pass? Did you enjoy it? Was it?
Oh, it was wonderful.
You seem like an advocate for it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I like spending time with my wife, but we didn't do anything. Oh, okay. Yeah, we just.
That's by plan, right?
Yeah, yeah. We.
Is she into it?
You know, she's not your typical kind of woman. She likes to go out on dates and stuff like that. Obviously, have a good time and spend it with friends. But you know, we have the kids, so it's like, man, we either, like I said, I had a show Saturday, so it was like either we have a babysitter for that Valentine's Day, or we both get to go to the show where all of your friends are coming. Yeah. You know, so it was just like, hey, I know it's still Valentine's Day. You want me to go to the store and get a couple slices of cake and we can just hang out and watch a movie or something? And she's like, actually, I'll just take the cake and go to sleep. That'd be great. I was
That sounds
like,
good though.
done. You know, like, sweet.
Did she have a favorite cake?
I would say red velvet, but I think no, Italian cream.
Ooh,
Yeah.
You have a favorite cake?
Red velvet.
Oh, okay.
Oh man, I get down on some red velvet.
I love German chocolate. That's
Do you?
Yeah, my wife's favorite as well.
Are you a coconut person?
Yeah, I love coconut. Love
Yeah?
coconut. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. So, do you bounce? Not ideas. Do you bounce jokes off your wife?
All the time. She hates it.
She doesn't like it. She doesn't enjoy it.
No, she does. She does, but it's just you can tell when just today's not a good day to bounce a joke off her.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like I'll be like, "Hey, I've got a couple ideas. What do you think?" And she's just like She was like, "If you could just hold off until tomorrow."
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
So, as far as does she have a good sense of humor to you?
Oh, she's got a great sense of humor. She's helped me write some of my my better jokes, and she's given me some of the best tags. Like a bit I'm gonna play here in a little bit. She helped me write a tag, which isn't on the video, but it's something I say now.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'll explain that after we play the joke.
You want to play it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I would love to hear that. So
All
you're
right.
about to play a.
This is a intro when I was hosting a showcase this past July at Fort Worth Hyenas.
Oh, cool. Let's listen.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the very funny Daniel Gill. What's going on, Fort Worth?
Gotta bring that
How you guys
energy.
doing?
Yeah.
Make some noise. Well, I'm not doing that well. Just before the show, I was leaving my house and my dishwasher started acting up. It's kind of frustrating. Kept making all these weird noises like, "What are you about to go do? Why don't you stay home with the kids? You know you're not as handsome as your brother." She's a peach. Tell you a little about myself. I'm part German, part French, which explains my love for fine chocolates and women with body hair.
I love that joke so much.
Told that joke to my wife, and she was like, "Who's that joke about?" I was like, "I don't know Chewbacca legs. Who do you think?" Oh man, she got so mad, but all that came out was.
Hold on. Where was this? Where'd you do this one?
That was a showcase on a Sunday night. So that was in Fort Worth in the main room, and that was around last July.
Okay.
So I got to actually host that, and so when I tell you my wife writes up tags and stuff like that, I've got
What's a tag?
Okay, so in your joke, if you're doing a normal format, it's usually a setup punch, where it'd be like, "What's weird about this?" and then you explain what's weird about it in a punchline.
Yeah.
So anything that comes after a punchline is called a tag, and you can tag any joke until people stop laughing.
Yeah.
So recommended you do about 1 to 2 tags. So in there, I am a stay-at-home dad, and I'm starting to write jokes about being a stay-at-home dad. So when I tell this joke now, she was like, you should tell everybody that I love that joke because you're a stay-at-home dad, and that makes you the dishwasher. And so that brings everyone. So if anyone is offended by that joke, like, "Oh, I can't believe you'd say that about his wife."
Yeah.
Now she's like, "Yeah, but I work and you don't."
Yeah.
So it's one of those little power flip kind of
It's
things.
that tension there. Yeah.
And so it kind of relieves it, and then they all laugh at me again.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, "Oh, I love that."
Yeah.
And so with the second joke, where I call her Chewbacca legs and stuff like that, and I go, I don't get groans off that one. But I've also added another line that I ran by her, and she was like, "I love that." But it's like it's okay because later she ripped my arms off and beat me to death with them, and that's just if you're a Star Wars person.
Oh, that's perfect. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
So your process of do you have a particular process that you've been accustomed to over the time?
Some of the stuff happens to me. So there was I have a joke about my 14-year-old, and this happened a couple years ago. and I just changed the age in it. But it's so her and I, the real story is her and I were in the car and we're listening to songs and just singing along, having a good time. Bohemian Rhapsody comes on and we're just singing. We're going at it. We're going ham. It's like, yeah. So I hit this note and the music lulls. She reaches over, turns down the radio and goes, "Hey, Dad, you know what you were singing just now? Your neck fat was all jiggly." Oh. And I was just like, hang on, I've got to write this crap down. I'm driving, just speaking it into my phone. This is what happened. This is what she did. And I'm like, that's like, I'm not even going to have to do much to that. Like, I just set up and then, you know, maybe another little act out afterwards. But it was just one of those things where I was like, some jokes write themselves.
So you would, if you're occupied in a certain way, you would record certain jokes, and then
Thoughts.
Sometimes you'll write certain jokes. Sometimes you'll type. What do you do? Like you have notes for? How do you organize all that?
There's different ways. A lot of people go pen and paper, notebook, stuff like that. Some people use apps. I just got this app, and it's called The Gag.
The Gag.
Yeah, The Gag. And 99 cents. That might be the greatest app I've ever bought.
Wow. How long you been using this app?
3 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They're not promoting me to say that. I just want you to know.
Yeah, it's not endorsement.
Yeah. So, no, it's one of those things where you can create a label, and I'm specifically talking about that app. That's where I'm going to be putting everything now.
Okay.
Because you can label what your topic is, and then you can just put all of your jokes under that label, and it'll actually time everything out to whatever the normal cadence of an average human speaking is. So if you don't know how long your bit is, it'll sit there and be like, oh, this is about 3 minutes.
Okay.
And then you can build your sets around that.
Yeah.
It is incredible.
So that has been helpful as far as organizing and structuring.
Oh, absolutely.
How'd you discover it? Who put you on?
I read anything, Reddit, you know, stuff like that. So one person was talking about this. So it was like, you know, when your wife gets into Pinterest.
Yeah.
You know, and all of a sudden
it's super big into Pinterest.
Bro, it's just like all of a sudden she's like, we need new sheets. I'm like, what? We got new sheets. Yeah, now we need now we need curtain rods. I'm like, what? I'm gonna make them. What? But it's like it's one of those things where like on Reddit, I'm reading a lot about like what comics have questions over and stuff like that. So it's like, you know, you can exchange ideas with these people and be like, hey, this is my thought on this premise. What do you think? And they'll be like, okay, well, this is where it would be. And then other people come in, drop in their gems. And then one person in an article, they were like, read this article. So I read the article. And in that article, they were talking about the app. And they were like, if you don't have it, you need it. You know, because it'll change everything for you. So if you're trying to work on what they say is you want to have a 3-minute video, 5-minute video, 10-minute video, so on and so forth. Okay. That's the way that you're going to be able to find out, okay, how do I get a 3-minute video? Okay, well, I got 2.5-minute bits. I'll just do those. Boom, boom. Oh, I need 5 minutes. Okay, I've got a 2-minute bit here and a 3-minute bit here. And they somewhat relate because the labels, you can tag on however many. So if I have a label about my mom and my kids, but both of those jokes are similar,
I see.
I can just hook those two together. Like it's so crazy.
So when you have a 3-minute video, 5-minute video, 10-minute video, what do you do with those? Do you send those out to particular like is it bookers? Is it networks? What is it you do with those videos?
Depending on the clubs, okay. If they're not looking for like your social media activity,
okay,
you know, and they just want video and stuff like that, recommendations. Most of your festivals want just a quick 5-minute, 3-minute. That's what they'll ask for.
What is that? Like when you say most of the festivals, how do you discover this? How do you know?
So you'll look up online.
Okay.
You can just kind of Google comedy festivals, and some of the places will let you know how to, you know, get a hold of the person that books them. And so that person will be like, okay, well, just send me a 5-minute clip. So if you have a 5-minute clip, you send it out. That's your best 5 minutes. You'll always want it to be your best 5. You don't want it to be like So, like, if you
Yeah.
start it with so, I've heard so many bookers go, if it starts with so, I just turn it off.
Do you
and
feel
go
like
to the
that's
next
what
one.
like, it's like self-awareness, that people don't have self-awareness to know that it's not that, I guess, good? Or is it that everyone thinks whatever they do is good?
I mean, some people are just like, well, if you start your sentence off with so, you have nothing to say.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people are turned off by that. Like, you're unprepared.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I have a joke about grapefruit where it's like, so today, you know, so today I did the whitest thing I've ever done in my life. I had grapefruit for breakfast, you know, and then I relate it like that. But I'm trying to cut the word so out of there, where it's just I did.
You don't think you don't feel like it's essential to the joke?
I don't think it is.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, it's also one of those things. How many jokes have you heard that the comic starts out so? Instead of just getting to the point.
Yeah.
You can edit out so many of those things just to get to the meat of what you're trying to do.
But you don't think sometimes, regardless of the word but all these things sometimes are helpful to the cadence and the pace of a joke?
We're all different. We're all gonna do stand up differently. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you send that 5 minute so you find a festival, send that 5 minute to them. They kind of look at it.
They look it over, and if they like you, hopefully you get booked. And if they don't, you know, I wish they would send you a little message, be like, hey, not this time.
Sometimes they don't follow up at all.
No, they don't follow up. You just find out whenever the
show.
Yeah, whenever the big poster comes out of like the 40, 50 people that are going to be performing that week at a festival. You find out then.
What are the and this could be helpful.
Yeah.
What are the type of pay scales when it comes to different type of shows, i.e. like festival or just regular, you know, club, or like how do they? What do you usually see when you go out?
I mean, some festivals might pay if you're, you know, headlining kind of a comedian. That I'm honestly not quite sure about. I've never done a festival. I'm applying to be into them now. Okay. But I mean, some of them offer just like room and board. Okay. Okay. We'll pay for your expenses to come out. You know, so like if you pay for my airfare and a couch to sleep on, some comics are like, yeah, that's getting paid right there. You know, where if you're doing like clubs and stuff like that, there's fairly standard rates across the board. And the pay jumps when you go from opener to feature and feature to headliner, but then that's also a measurable difference. I mean, it just depends on what you can bring to the table also. You know, I know some headliners make minimal and some, I mean, they get a blank check because, you know, what was it? The guy that does all the voices, Frank Caliendo. Yeah. I know if he goes to a club, any club, he can be like, I want $90,000 for one night. And they're like, done. You know what I mean? Like he can ask something astronomical from a club and they're just like, yeah, okay. Do you have a favorite comic? Do I have, yeah. I like Dave Chappelle. I like Bill Burr. But when it really comes down to who my favorite is, it's probably Chad Daniels. Okay. Yeah. Do you follow his story as far as like what transition you made? Do you look at their story in that way, or is it more just what they are, their presence on stage? Well, I've been recently getting into his podcast and following how that's all going. But I got turned on to him, oh man, like 5, 6, 7 years ago, something like that. And his stuff is so funny that I was just like, I like that a lot. You know, it's kind of being a smart ass and, you know, stuff like that. And I was just like, that's kind of what I like to be. Yeah. You know, so when it comes down to it, I like his wordplay. I like how he didn't make points to like hot button topics and stuff like that. He would just go be funny. But like even as he's evolved, because comedy always evolves, even with his like evolution in his career, you can hear how he brings himself into his bits and stuff like that. Like one of my favorite bits by him is a bit called Same Dice.
Okay.
And he talks about like how him and his friends were drunken for a bachelor party in Las Vegas, and he ends up cracking his ribs trying to do a backflip into the pool off a bridge.
Oh man.
Yeah, and then the security guard comes out, tells him, "Hey man, you can't swim in the pool," and he can't swim because his ribs are freaking broken. Yeah. He was like, "You know what? You're right. I'm not good. I'm not gonna swim today." And so, like the whole little story that goes about it, you know, it's kind of like this guy's being a jerk to him, even though he was kind of in the wrong. This guy's being a super douche, and so he's just like, all right, I'm going to try and make this guy's life hell. And it's just hilarious. Man. Throughout.
So I got to also commend you, because a lot of people wait in line to try to get chosen. And, you know, there's a patience that comes there. But you recently just put on your own show, right?
Yeah.
Is it that you felt, okay, like when did you feel ready? Was this your first show that you've ever put on your own?
No, I've put together shows over the past year. I've put on maybe 5 or 6, really on my own, promoting them myself, booking the comics, finding out how much.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's brutal. This past show, last night, I was sitting there and I was thinking about it all this past week, and when I finally got the message that we sold out, that was an amazing feeling. You know, but it's one of those things where it was just like, man, that was so much work. Yeah. You know, it is so hard, not only just to get me to kind of produce a show, but then to light a fire under, you know, 4 other people that are on the show to also do the same thing. You know, because I want us all to have a good time. I want us all to be funny. I want us all to make money, you know, but it's one of those things where it's just like, I have to make this post. Now I've got to tell my friends to make this post. Hey guys, if you want to have this good show, you need to post too. So come on. I know you've got other stuff you want to promote also, and go ahead and do that, but let them know about this one. You know, and so it's so interesting.
That's the behind the scenes work that you don't really like enjoy.
No, not at all.
Do you get help? Does someone help you with all that, or is it just all on you?
At the moment, I do all of my social media myself, and if you've seen any of my photos, you could tell. Yeah. No, but so like doing the posters together, I had a buddy kind of help me with putting posters together. And then I was just like, you know, I need to learn how to do this. Yeah. You know, that's part of the job. Any of the big comics you see, if they have shows coming up, they'll do their own photoshops. And you know, I was hanging out with one headliner, and he was like, "Oh, I always pick a cheerleader, and then I put my face on their body." And I was like, "Why?" He was like, "'Cause it's funny." Yeah, like that was his whole reasoning. Yeah. He was like, and I just throw it out there for all of my friends to see. I'm like, okay, cool.
And I guess it works for him.
It works for him. I mean, people find it interesting. It gets them clicks. It gets them noticed. People go out, look at his YouTube videos, stuff like that. I mean,
so how do you know when you need help?
When you don't get work. Oh. Yeah, I mean.
No, I mean, like if you're overwhelmed, or if you're at a moment where you're struggling in something to try to figure something out, how do you know when to ask others for help? Or are you into asking others for help, or are you into like figuring it out on your own?
Oh yeah, I live my life very much. I don't ask stupid questions, so I'll ask all the dumb questions possible. Yeah, like if I can't understand an answer, I get off Google. I've got tons of people in this industry that you know that you network with. Like when it comes to, I mean, within reason, you know. So if I have questions about like hashtags, or something like that,
like Instagram hashtags or something,
yeah. If I don't understand that, I know plenty of people that I'm like, hey, what am I not doing right? That you know, you're getting a lot of hits on yours. How am I not getting hits on mine? What am I doing wrong? I don't feel that's a dumb question at all. Yeah. Now, if you're 12 years old, you probably are like, no, that's a really dumb question. How do you not know that? You know. But it's one of those things where you know. I picked one, you know, when I was growing up. I was like, oh, Facebook, you know. And then Instagram came along, and everyone was like, no, this is the one we're doing. Now I'm playing catch up on it.
So this is really good. So if you have a question that you're trying to figure out, like, what do I do, right? And you post that question out and ask people for help, give me an example of how many people you would say respond.
Depends on what social media I'm actually posting on. So like Reddit for the most part is like untrolled Twitter.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, obviously you're gonna have trolls everywhere. You know, but that one, I kind of like that one.
Okay.
You know, I would ask a question on there and not really feel bad about the answers I get, because the questions I'm asking comedians who either are going through the same thing I'm going through, and they're like, how do I make money at this business? Yeah. You know, or it's people that have just gotten out of it and they're like, hey, this is what I did. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
when you do pose a question, whether it be on Facebook or Reddit, because those are two main platforms that you, what percentage of those actually do you find actual help? Like versus like people who just throw out things and, you know, them actually give you some real help that actually you apply and actually you see considerable change?
I would take a look at the person. Like, that's just me. Yeah. I would be like, okay, first off, where are you? Yeah. You know what I mean? Now, there's a chick I know. She was kind of like she was a model in like hip hop videos and stuff like that. She's got like 80,000 people on her Instagram. Yeah. So if you're like, hey, I'll tell you how to get famous on Instagram, but you have like 9 people, I'm probably not going to weigh your opinions that much. Yeah. You know what I mean? But if she was like, oh, your photos stink, I would believe every single thing that she would tell me. So
someone having experience.
Oh, sure.
They have no experience in, let's say, Instagram, or no experience in a particular medium that you're trying to be more successful at, and they try to give you advice. You just take it as a grain of salt and that's it? Or is it more like...
I would hear what they have to say, but then it would go into like, what am I needing? Yeah. You know, what am I needing to learn? Stuff like that. Like, if you don't know anything about Instagram, first off, I would hope you would not talk to me about Instagram.
Yeah. You know, but that happens though.
It does.
It happens all the time.
It's so bad, isn't it?
Yeah. They somebody who has no understanding in what it is, no experience, no real experience. Yeah. You ask a question, asking for someone who has expertise in that area. Yeah. And then they'll chime in on what you need to change your this, you need to do your that, you need to do your that. And it's not helpful at all, but yet they feel like they're really making a difference or really giving you something valuable, but you don't see it as that valuable if you don't have experience, right?
Well, absolutely. I mean, think about it this way. Would you trust a guy who's never made shoes to make you shoes? No. Yeah. I mean, you'd be like, those are not going to feel good. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's one of those things. If someone can't taste, are they going to be a great cook? Yeah. You know, if someone, yeah. I would say if someone can't hear, would they be good at music? But that one's like, oh yeah, Beethoven. Yeah. You know, like, see, I told you, I'm dumb. Yeah. I'm dumb.
No, but so experience matters when it comes to
absolutely
getting the help in this game. So have you found a lot of help as far, even within the Dallas scene with other comedians, and you know, like, have you found a lot of help, or do you feel the community's helpful? You do?
Oh yeah. It's one of those things. If there's a hierarchy, obviously. So if you're new, you gotta earn the right. You're green. You know what I mean? You gotta prove that this isn't just like you're a weekend warrior. Yeah. You know, I just come out whenever I want. You know, tell my penis jokes and I'm going back home. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you hit one mic a month, people aren't gonna take you serious. So if you go, hey, I'm trying to build my social media, and you're only one mic a month, yeah, they're not gonna believe you. Yeah. They're probably not like, oh yeah, there's a link, you can Google it. Yeah, yeah. You know, but if you're really out there, you're really trying to work your business, you're networking with all these other comics, you get on their shows, they get on your shows, you're like, hey, I got a question about this Instagram. What should I do? They're more apt to be like, oh, hey, yeah, here, come, yeah, here, let me show you, come here. You know, so I think the scene here is incredible. You know,
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of different groups that you can kind of ally yourself with, and different clubs all over the place. You can go to open mics everywhere. You know, I mean, it's kind of like the unspoken third, you know, between the East and the West.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So what is something that you would you wish you have known or could tell to your younger self when you were starting out?
Oh man. I wish I would have told myself back in 2006 to keep going.
Oh.
Because I was taking a workshop, and then all of a sudden just all of life kind of hit me. I was 22 going through all that stuff, and it all hit at once.
What's all that stuff?
The divorce, custody, all that stuff. So like the depression and just this downward spiral, you know, it all just
hit you really hard.
It hit, and I was taking a workshop from a guy who I ended up a few years ago. I ended up taking his workshop again, and it was more on like joke structure and stuff like that. I wish I would have stuck with that one the first time I went, because I would be 14 years into the game now. Yeah, as opposed to like 5.
Yeah.
6.
Well, but what could you have told yourself? Like, you know, at that time, how would you have made yourself listen?
So my belief is I am who I am because of what I've been through. And if I could go back and change anything in my life, I wouldn't be who I am today. So I don't know if I'd tell myself anything. Yeah. Like, yeah, it'd be great to go back and be like, hey, I got a joke for you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. This is going to start you out. Yeah. You know?
No, more in the way, like if you were about to stop and said, okay, you know, like I guess you're going through a moment of considering, like, I need to kind of figure something out. Let me put this on pause, right? Yeah. What could your now self have told your younger self to say, like, hey, you need to continue? Because, you know, sometimes, you know, like we have a certain stubbornness because of a maturity. Yeah. You know, we don't have that maturity yet, you know, and someone could tell you voting's important, but when you're 18, the majority of people who are at that age are like, I don't care, you know, but then when they get to an age where it affects them, they're like, oh, it is important. And then they try to tell an 18-year-old and they don't care either. And they feel, you know, like passionate about the fact, like, I wish the younger generation would. But then I think, what could you possibly, because there might not be an answer to this. What could you possibly say to a person who doesn't have the maturity to understand what it is that you're telling them, you know?
Man, okay. So what I wish if I could tell my younger self anything, especially when I first got into that. Yeah. Journal. Okay. Write down everything kooky or weird or strange or hard about what you are going through. Yeah. Write it all down. Because that is where you're going to find the funny later. You know, I mean, there's nothing funny about divorce when you're going through it. Yeah. You know, but afterwards you're like, oh, there's tons of stuff.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
Like,
so it takes a moment to heal from it, to look back on it and find it funny.
Yeah, it just depends on the person and the time. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like they say time plus what is it?
Is it time plus
trauma plus time equals comedy?
Do you believe that though? That you need trauma and you need
strife and
pain? All that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I mean, that's where you get the humor. I mean, that's how you deal with stuff. Yeah. I mean, some people just shut off. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you can't sit back and look at, you know, try and find I find it more of a hopeful. Yeah. Like, yeah, that's a coping mechanism. Yeah. You know, sometimes something bad happens. Bad example, but like the Sandy Hook shooting, when the guy came out and he was just like, I can't believe people are, you know, and everyone got mad at this guy coming out. He's like a morgue doctor or something like that. He was coming out trying to talk about like what happened, and everyone was giving him crap because he was laughing. But that's a serious coping mechanism. That's because he couldn't believe what he just saw. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things, whenever you go through a traumatic experience, trauma in your life, and you can actually sit there and kind of laugh at what you're going through. Yeah. You know, it's one of those things where you're going to be able to find the funny in it.
Yeah, because Chris D'Elia, you're familiar with Chris D'Elia, right?
Oh,
yeah, he disagrees with that. He said that he doesn't feel like you need any trauma or any like hard upbringing or anything like that to be funny, because he feels like he had a really great upbringing, great relationship with him and his brother, his father. They had a fantastic time growing up, and he just feels like when people say that, it's like cliche, and it makes me think a little bit. But he didn't think that was like required in order to be funny. He felt like funny is funny regardless of what you're.
I consider Chris D'Elia this generation's Dane Cook, so we'll see where he is in about 10 years.
Yeah.
And when I say that, I don't think that Dane Cook is not funny.
Yeah.
I grew up with him.
Yeah.
I like him. I like Chris D'Elia too.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's like,
let the dust settle.
Yeah. Was he funny before the Bieber roast?
Yeah.
Yeah. When Bieber came out and he was like, "Oh, you're my favorite comedian." Bieber, the hottest pop star on the planet.
Yeah.
And Chris D'Elia in that thing was like, I wouldn't even have guessed you knew about me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, sure, it probably him not having a whole lot of trauma in his life. Sure, maybe that's what happened to him. I'm not saying that it's the only way to make comedy, because there are people that do it. They pick a topic. Okay, I'm gonna look at this box of mac and cheese. Look at Jim Gaffigan.
Yeah.
He has 10 minutes on bacon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was just like, "What's the sound of bacon make? How does this do?"
Yeah.
Sure. Some people just sit there. Look at Mark Maron.
Yeah.
That guy's depressing to listen to sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where that's his process. He has that way he goes about writing. Chris D'Elia has his own way. I like his bit where he talks about, Russian.
Yeah.
The Russian language. He was like, "You see K? No, fuck K."
Yeah.
We backwards K. Stuff like that. I mean, yeah, it's kooky, it's zany.
So you think it's just different strokes for different folks?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's next for you? What do you feel is next in in the short term view and the long term vision?
Man, what I would like to do is keep doing the shows with the Red Room and stuff like that, trying to promote local comics, give them a platform to really get in front of good crowds, get a chance to make some money, get legit stage time to, see what they can do.
Yeah.
I like being able to offer something that I didn't necessarily have when I was coming up.
Yeah.
But I also want it to be in a fair manner. Mm-hmm. That's just
And we'll have a long term vision.
I want to be the next Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
No, but taller.
Yeah.
Taller.
Yeah.
No, man, I would like to get into clubs and, be on the road more.
Like world tour, nationwide, just statewide. What do you?
I would like 5 states.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to be in 5 states. Just have a nice little, all right, I'm coming from Texas up to
Mississippi.
Virginia, yeah, wherever,
Yeah.
If there's people and they have families and kids, I want to go there and be like, "Hey, do you like being a parent as much as I do?" Because, sometimes it's rough.
Yeah. That's cool. Well, where can people find you if they want to learn a little bit more about you? Like, what's your Instagram, your Facebook? What's all that? Oh,
so my Facebook, you can find me on Dan Gill Comedy on Facebook. And for my Instagram, I believe it is D Gill Comedy.
D Gill Comedy.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to. Do you have any other? Do you have a Twitter?
I don't really tweet.
You don't? You don't enjoy it? It's a whole nother world.
It is a whole nother world. I actually Googled Twitter games, and it was like, you probably don't need to do it. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
No, I'm doing that, and if you want to find out about the upcoming shows I'm putting together, it is funny as hell. I will be putting together a Facebook page and an Instagram for that as well. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's where you can find anything about me. Man, I really appreciate not only the gems you drop, but then all the information you share, because I feel like it's really helpful, not only to anybody who may be listening, but to me, Yeah, absolutely. And take your time out of your busy day and your busy schedule
to have this conversation. But yeah, man, I really appreciate you coming in.
Hey, man, not a problem. Thanks for having me. Absolutely.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to kind of finally share with anybody, or is that pretty much what it is for you?
No, I think that's about it. I've had a blast.
Well, cool, bro. I loved it. I really enjoyed it, and I appreciate all y'all for listening. And as you know, I'll see you later. All right, love you. And lastly, please remember to love yourself and don't be too hard on yourself.